$10,000 will not change your life. Let me say that again, because it's the whole point. 10 grand won't buy you a house, won't let you quit, won't even cover a real emergency for very long. On paper, it's almost nothing. And yet, the day your account finally crosses $10,000, something changes that has nothing to do with the money. You change. The way you think, the way the bank sees you, the math quietly running in the background, even the kind of decisions you're allowed to make, all of it flips at this one number. Today, I'm going to be you. Not rich you, not broke you, you, on the day you hit your first 5 figures. And I'm going to show you the 4 things that change that nobody warns you about. Because your first 10 grand isn't about getting rich. It's about becoming someone the system can't push around anymore. Change 1. The floor. Before 10 grand, I'm not really living. I'm balancing. Every single month is a tightrope, and there is no net under me. Here's the truth about life down here with a couple $100 to my name. I am always exactly one surprise away from zero. The car, the tooth, the vet, the check engine light. It's not that bad things happen to me more often than they happen to rich people. It's that when they happen, I have nothing to absorb them with. So get this straight, because everyone gets it backwards. I'm not one bad decision away from zero. I'm one bad surprise away from zero. And the difference between those two is the whole game. And because I've got nothing to absorb it, a $400 problem never costs $400. It costs $400 plus the overdraft when my account dips under, plus a late fee on the bill I skipped to cover it, plus the interest on the payday loan I swore I would never take. A $400 problem becomes a $540 hole. The problem was never the problem. Being thin was the problem. Now slide $10,000 in under all of that and watch what stops happening. The car still brakes. The tooth still hurts. But the cascade doesn't come. The $400 problem costs $400. Full stop. No overdraft. No late fee. No payday loan. No spiral. I didn't get richer. I got a floor. For the first time in my life, a bad day is just a bad day, instead of a bad month that turns into a bad year. And the strange part is how quiet that change is. Nobody throws a party when you hit 10 grand. There's no confetti, no upgrade, no new car in the driveway. The only thing that happens is that a knot you've carried your whole adult life, the one that tightens every time your phone buzzes with a charge, just quietly loosens. You exhale, and you don't even notice you were holding it. 10 grand isn't wealth. It's a floor. And a floor is the entire difference between a stumble and a fall. Change 2. The math. This is the first time in my entire life that money does something for me while I'm asleep. For years, interest was just a word that happened to other people. Now I move that 10 grand into a high-yield savings account, the kind that pays around 4.5%, and it starts handing me roughly $37 a month for doing absolutely nothing. It's not life-changing. It's a dinner. But it is the first dollar I have ever earned without trading an hour of my life for it, and that dollar does something to your head. And here's the flip that actually matters. For years I was on the wrong side of interest. I paid it, on the credit card, on the overdraft, on the buy now, pay later. Interest was a tax I paid for being short. At 10 grand for the first time, interest pays me. Same exact word, pointed the opposite direction. And it doesn't just sit there. Left alone, that 10 grand compounds. The interest earns interest, which earns interest on top of that. It is boring, almost insultingly slow, for a long, long time. And then one day it isn't. The same 10,000, untouched, quietly becomes 30-something thousand while you were busy living your life. So that's change too. $10,000 doesn't make me rich. It just moves me to the right side of a line I have been standing on the wrong side of my entire life, from paying for money to being paid for it. Change 3. The head. And this is the one nobody tells you about, which is a shame, because it's the one that actually changes your life. Being broke isn't just expensive, it's loud. When you have nothing saved, every money decision gets made by a scared little part of your brain that can only see right now. You take the shift you shouldn't take. You buy the cheap thing twice instead of the good thing once. You say yes to the bad job, the bad apartment, the bad terms, because no isn't a thing you can afford to say. 10 grand buys the one thing scarcity steals from you, the ability to wait. Suddenly I can let a bad deal walk right past me. I can say, no thanks, I'll find better. I can take the job that pays more in 3 months instead of grabbing the one that pays today. The cushion doesn't just protect my money, it quietly upgrades every decision I make. And the people who make their money off desperate decisions, they can feel it instantly. The payday lender, the rent-to-own store, the 29% card, their entire business is built on people who can't wait. The day you can wait, you stop being their customer. 10 grand quietly takes you off the menu. So that's change 3, and it's the big one. $10,000 doesn't make me rich. It makes me patient. And a patient person is genuinely dangerous to anyone whose whole business depends on your panic. Change 4. The slope. Because the first $10,000 is the single hardest money you will ever save, and crossing it changes the shape of the entire climb ahead. Here's the cruel joke of the bottom. The first 10,000 is the hardest 10,000 you will ever save, because you're saving it out of the smallest income, against the highest fees, with the least patience, while every force in your life is pulling the other way, which is exactly why crossing it matters so much. You didn't just save money, you proved to yourself that you can. And here's the reward, because saving the second 10,000 is easier. You've got the floor, so you stop bleeding it back out in fees. You've got the head, so you make better calls. You've got the math, so part of it now saves itself. The line that was flat for years finally starts to tilt up. The first 10 grand is a wall. Everything after it is a hill. And here's the part I want you to hold on to, because I'm coming back to it. This exact same thing, the floor, the math, the head, it all happens again. Bigger. At $100,000, the whole game changes a second time, in a way that makes 10 grand look small. But, and this is the catch, you don't get the 100K version of you without building the 10K version first. So that's change 4. $10,000 doesn't make me rich. It makes me the kind of person who gets rich slowly, which, it turns out, is the only kind of rich that actually lasts. So, why doesn't everyone just do this? Because the first 10 grand gives you almost nothing while you're building it. No floor yet, no real interest yet, no change in your head yet, just the discipline, with none of the reward. It is the most thankless stretch in all of personal finance, and that's exactly where most people quit, 3 feet from the spot where it finally starts paying off. That's the whole trap. The first 10,000 pays you nothing, right up until the moment it pays you everything. The floor, the math, the patience, none of it shows up gradually. It shows up all at once, on the far side of the boring part that almost everybody gives up on. $10,000 will not change your life. I told you that at the very start, and it is still true. It won't. But the version of you on the other side of it, the one with a floor under them, with the math finally on their side, with the patience to wait for better, that person changes absolutely everything that comes after. So here's the only question that matters. How far are you right now from your first 10 grand? And be honest with yourself. Is it the money that's stopping you? Or is it the part where it pays you nothing until the day it pays you everything,